afternoon, everyone, and welcome to a Beat the Big Dog Thursday here in the Doghouse. We have got a busy but interactive show for you today. Get ready to contribute to this one. There's some very interesting news that is happening, including the Bill Belichick to North Carolina deal being sealed. And Rich Rodriguez will leave Jack State after 3 very productive years there to return to his alma mater, West Virginia, the scene of his greatest success. So the coaching carousel now in full swing as the dominoes will begin to fall. And again, it always bothers me that this stuff goes on at this time of the year before we even get to bowl games and things like that. In the case of Bill Belichick, it doesn't impact it as much, but, you know, who knows what's going to happen around the rest of the country with other deals. Does Rich Rodriguez coach Jack State in a bowl game? I don't know. I don't think so, but we'll wait and see how all of that shakes out. We welcome those of you that are watching on WZZN TV, our YouTube channel, and on X as well. Check that out if you haven't yet, as well as our listeners on 97.7 ESPN, the app. And those of you listening over the air in Winchester, Tennessee, and ESPN Winchester, lines are open at 256-5764-97.7. You can also text the show, 732-9TA-SHOW. That's 732-982-7469. That is a great way to communicate with us. My X feed is at Thom Abraham Show. The Zone is on X at 97.7 ESPN. And go ahead and throw a follow to at ESPN Winchester. And speaking of apps, snag not only the Zone app, but that Talk Radio WZZN app for more great programming, and snag the new ESPN Winchester app for all their great content. Now, make sure that you keep an eye on the socials at the calendar at 977ESPN.com so you know what games are on where. And, of course, we'll have Army-Navy coming up on Saturday. We have all your college football playoff action next week. We have got the NFL tonight as well for you with that game between the Rams and the 49ers. So, you know, it's all right here. The bottom line is, if it's football, it's here. Doesn't matter, high school, college, pro, doesn't matter. We got it all. Now, coming up, oh, by the way, don't forget about your big zone deals. Don't forget about big zone deals. And we've added Lawler's back to the mix, goes live tomorrow morning. All right? I think, you know, we used to have these things go live at like 8 a.m., but I don't have that ability anymore to make it, you know, at some particular time. I can only make it available at a particular day. So Lawler's will go live tomorrow at midnight, or tonight at midnight, 12:01. Whatever it is, it's available at 12:01. All right, so you're going to want to check that out as well, as that one always sells out quick. So you're going to want to jump on that. You missed out on the one for the Gunnersville State Park. That sold out in a hurry. But Lawler's tomorrow, so you're going to want to be ready to jump all over that one. And all the other great deals that are there at the Zone Deals platform. All right. Don't forget also the party. This year's Christmas party. Listener Christmas party is coming up a week from this past Monday. It's coming up next Monday. Next Monday at Flow Supreme Air on Drake Ave, brought to you by Talent Heating and Air, TOC Sports, North Alabama Mortgage, and Bubby's Diner. Your admission is a unwrapped toy for a boy or a girl. Now, some of you have asked, hey, what if I bring quiet money? Can I just bring some quiet money? You got some elves that can go do shopping? Absolutely. That's fine. The whole family, though, is welcome to come. The kids, bring the nephews and nieces, bring the grandchildren, whatever you got. Bring them. And Bubby's Diner is feeding everybody. Plus, we'll have, you know, you get the run of the joint at Flow, which is great. I heard from Wolverine Dan earlier today. He was out shopping. He was out doing the Santa Claus thing. Wolverine Dan always comes up with more stuff than you would possibly would ask for. He always you know, you guys give him a hard time a lot because he's Wolverine Dan. You know, he's a character. And I get that. But the reality is, he's a very generous man. He's a good guy. All right, he's just a good guy when it comes to that kind of stuff. So, you know, he's out there shopping. I know others are doing the same, and we really appreciate that. That'll be great. All right, and Beat the Big Dog, you know how that works. Now, one listener will pick 6 games against me, and if you beat me, this is against the spread and against me. And if you beat me, you get tickets to the Trans-Perfect Music City Bowl in Nashville on December 30th. And speaking of the Music City Bowl, coming up at the bottom of the hour, Scott Ramsey from the Nashville Sports Council will be in to set up the bowl week for us. It's the only game that day. I mean, it's going to get great national attention. It's the only bowl game. I think it's 1:30 in the afternoon. It's the only bowl game that day. So that's pretty good stuff. Then at the top of the one, Steve Merril from Wager Talk TV will join us. And then we'll roll out Beat the Big Dog. And speaking of Nashville, by the way, they have been awarded the 2026 and 2027 FCS National Championship games. They will be played at Vanderbilt's renovated stadium, which will seat between, 35 to 40,000, as best as I can tell. I spent 8 minutes. It should take 1 minute, but maybe it's me. I went into the Google machine and tried searching, like, what will the capacity be of Vanderbilt's new stadium? It was 28,000 this year. That was the dirty little secret with all the construction going on. So I'm like, what will it be? And I see 41,000. Then I see, no, that was after the renovation in 1981, and now it's 32,000. Now it's going to be, I don't know. You'd think you could ask the Google thing one question. What will the capacity be of Vanderbilt Stadium when the renovation's done? Apparently, I thought they were closing in the end zones, for football. Apparently, like one of the end zone, they lost all the seating for a basketball practice arena. I mean, it's not like they got any room down there on the West End. But anyway, they'll be hosting the FCS National Championship game. They're building that stadium down there, the new Nissan Stadium, the Dome Stadium. How long before it becomes announced that Nashville is hosting the national championship game? I mean, seriously. I mean, what about, in 26, when there's a whole new iteration of the playoff, what's that going to look like? Are they going to use bowl games? Are they going to use more bowl games? Are they going to still be on campus? Or are they going to go on, first round going to go into bowl games? Could there be a semifinal? Could the Music City Bowl actually become like a New Year's Six Bowl where it's a semifinal game? I mean, all bets are off after 2025. After next year, this whole system's going to get torn down again and rebuilt. Are the bowls going to be a part of that? All I know is there's a stadium being built 89, 90 miles to the north of us that's going to be a dome stadium, and you bet your bippy that they're going to be bidding for Super Bowls. Every new NFL stadium ends up getting a Super Bowl. It's in a deal. Do you know they're going to have a Super Bowl? They're going to be in the mix for Final Four and national championship game. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. I just wish it had a retractable roof. That's all. I mean, it's nice to know that the ACM Awards show, concert, whatever, won't have to be rained out on particular days when the summer storms roll through. But I wish the thing had a retractable on it. I wish it did. So will this Bill Belichick deal signal some sort of shift in the coaching ranks? Now, his presser is coming up at 1 o'clock, his introductory presser. Is Bill Belichick going to be like, it's a great opportunity here. We're on to Wake Forest. I mean, can you see that? Can you see that with Bill Belichick? Happy to be here. We'll see how things work out. We're on to Syracuse. What's Belichick going to say? What are we going to hear from him? It's a great rivalry with NC State, but we got Georgia Tech first. What's he going to say? I don't know. My impression, my impression was that guys were going to bail on college football to go to the pros with all this NFL and transfer rule stuff until that got cleaned up. And it's not about money. I mean, there are guys in the pros that are making $15 million a year, but you can make $10, $11 million a year in college football. Is North Carolina going to pay Bill Belichick $10 or $11 million a year to be a college coach? They have that cake? What about they got to have money left for NIL, don't they? I didn't really see NFL guys going to college route. Are we going to see other guys leave the NFL and go coach in college? He's taking Mike Lombardi with him as the GM. Well, we know Alabama's got a GM. I mean, these college programs are going to be built like professional teams. No doubt about it. But what is the true motive behind this deal for Belichick? Now, Belichick's son, Steven, is the defensive coordinator at Washington. The rumors were that the negotiations included an automatic spot for Steven to become the head coach in waiting at North Carolina. So this was the way for him to get, his kid a head coaching job, maybe. I don't know. He's coaching with Jed Fish over there in Washington. Of course, Fish was on Belichick's staff, so it's all incestuous. And what about his son, Brian? He's the DB's coach with the Patriots. Is he coming too? Will somebody ask Belichick today, listen, was there anything in the deal about Steven becoming a head coach in waiting? They keep using the term, the president there, Cunningham, he keeps saying, we're excited to bring Bill Belichick in to run our football program. They never really say to coach our football team. They say to run the football program, to take over the. Almost sounds like Belichick's going to be the president of North Carolina football. I mean, is he actually going to be the coach? I mean, I guess he is, but they never say we're bringing Bill Belichick in to coach the team. They always say we're bringing Bill Belichick in to run our football program. I don't know. Look, here's another thing. Robert Kraft is one of the most powerful owners in the NFL, and he clearly fired Belichick. This was no mutual thing. He fired Belichick, okay? He helped him to save face a little bit. He wanted him out. The reason was that Belichick was such a pain in the butt to work with, and the returns were no longer there. So, you know what? Maybe the NFL was no longer an option for the hoodie. Maybe he's kind of blackballed out of the NFL. Maybe we're sitting there thinking about NFL jobs that are going to open up and possibly open up, and it might open up. And you got Robert Kraft, maybe whispering in the ear of Jerry Jones and other owners around the league and saying, that guy's such a pain in the butt. He wants to do everything. He wants to control everything. He wants to determine what kind of water we put in the water machine. Maybe Kraft, maybe Belichick got Kaepernicked. Could happen. Will he be a kinder, gentler guy on campus with kids? By the way, his daddy coached there for 3 years. His father, Steve Belichick, coached at the Tar Heels for 3 years back in the 50s. So he's like, this is we coached in college before. So he's been around college programs and everything. Okay, we understand that. Is he going to be a different guy on campus? I mean, clearly he has a way with kids. Just look at his girlfriend. 24 years old. He's 72. She's 24. I mean, we're not talking about May, December here. We're talking about dead and infant. 24. He's 70. He's 72. She's younger than all his kids. It's so gross. All right, emission control. Playing the play, doesn't matter. The stacks of wax. Answering the phones. Happy that he's not, 50 years older than his wife. Still one. Joe, you better get ready, too. My computer just decided to reboot. Oh, no, wait a minute. It came up. It's the one and the only Jumpin' Joe. Huh? Baby shark, baby shark.
Hello, I'm looking for some horsemen.
I've got plenty. How many you need?
4. Four horsemen. Can't hardly understand what you're saying, but...
Sorry, I got a little bit of a lift.
If I saw myself in clothes like those, I'd have to kick my own ass.
Tom, can you get me off the hook? For old time's sake.
Who in the blue hell are you?
I'm the producer of this show. If I didn't step up, you're nowhere. I put this thing together out of spit and polish.
What is your name? Detective It doesn't matter what your name is. And this is important because once you get that third one, they hit that little tank, get that heroic ability.
Satisfaction is guaranteed. So passionate.
Jordan!
So long, Nashville, Tennessee. You can't have what's left of me. And as far as I can tell, it's our time.
Hey, Joe, do you have any idea how many people the new Vanderbilt Stadium is going to, the renovated Vanderbilt Stadium is going to hold?
Well, I'm glad that you phrased it your way and not phrasing it as far as how many Vanderbilt fans is it going to be holding.
People,
you got to make
just
sure
bodies.
people.
Yeah.
No idea at all. And I think the reason why is because I don't think Vanderbilt has an idea of how many it's actually going to be able to hold. Because they are renovating and they're having to add so many different seats and areas and they're having to make adjustments, and the football stadium butts up against the baseball stadium, which is also going to be having renovations. And you have the basketball stadium and stuff, everything.
They used to use the baseball. They were using the baseball like training area for meeting rooms. I mean, it's really kind of jacked up down there.
Yeah, no, well, and they're landlocked.
There's no room.
Yeah, they're landlocked. I mean, they're right in the middle of the city, and there's no direction for them to go to. I mean, heck, even Belmont, which is right down the street from where they are, they have to play some of their games like at a park somewhere because they don't have a place where they can actually build facilities for certain sports on their own campus. So, they don't have much room at all, and that's the reason why, and people have seen it so often. It's the reason why Vanderbilt has the baseball stadium, and they're having to renovate it inside of the parameters in which they have because there's no way for them to expand. So they're having to go up because they can't go out.
They really can't add a second deck or anything like that. There's no room to do something like that there. They are adding basically luxury suites and things like that in that one end zone. And but I can't find a number. I mean, it got as low as, the dirty little secret. It only held 28,000 this year. I mean, 28,000. I mean, think about the SEC. I mean, this thing was tiny. I mean, what are you, the American, the All-American Conference or something? I mean, I don't know what that was, but I think it's somewhere between 35 and 40, somewhere in there. But they will have the FCS National Championship, and you know damn well that when that dome gets built, they're thinking Super Bowl, National Championship, Final Four.
Oh, they're thinking even more than that. I mean, there's an agreement that stadium has with WrestleMania, with WWE. That was actually supposed to be the first event in there, and it was supposed to be 2026, but the stadium wasn't going to be ready. So WrestleMania is happening in Indianapolis in 2026, but the question is 2027, because that's when it's supposed to be ready, because they're doing a little bit slower build than what Buffalo is doing. And I mean, it's going up. I mean, when you go to the Music City Bowl and you start walking across the pedestrian bridge, you're going to be able to see the new stadium and how it's being built. I mean, you can see it. It's very easy now. It's starting to get even, around the size of the current Nissan Stadium, but it's going to get every single major sporting event that it can hold, it will get.
Yeah, and it used to be the reason, Nashville wasn't in a rotation for a lot of that stuff. Didn't have enough hotel rooms.
And that's not the case anymore.
They're building those things like they're going out of style. You can't swing a dead cat without hitting a crane down there.
It's taken over the city skyline. I mean, I used to, even when I was driving up there, even a year ago, when I first started going to Nashville and working there, whenever you're driving up 65 and the interstate, basically turns into a Y, you have to go either left or right. You used to be able to see the skyline and the Batman building and all of that. But because of all of the hotels and the luxury apartments and everything else has been built right there at that Y spot, you can't even see the city skyline anymore because it's being replaced by apartments and everything else that's being built right there.
You know what the best view is that's so cool is if you're coming from the north side down 65. If you're coming down 65, there's that little rise before you go down the hill, down into downtown, where you're coming out of that area up there, and you see the whole city. from up there, from the north side of North 65 heading south. It is such a cool view.
It's about right before you start to pass the baseball stadium, before you pass First Horizon. It's like right there. The First Horizon's on the left, and the entire city skyline is there. You can even see the football stadium and everything just right as you're coming over, like you're coming back from Kentucky.
Chubby Ninja hit the text window. Will Belichick just move into the sorority house with his girlfriend to save on rent? It's pretty good.
Well, I mean, then his options are limited in that capacity. Tom, I also found some other football stadiums that held more people than what Vanderbilt did this year. Eastern Michigan, the Gray Field up in Michigan, they held 30,000 this year. So you were able to go see. There were more people at that stadium than what there was at Vandy.
Hey, Joe, MTSU.
MTSU.
Isn't MTSU? Oh, maybe MTSU's 27,000.
Troy holds 30,000. La Monroe is over 30,000, and MTSU is at 31,000.
31,000.
Yeah, 31. Washington State, Navy, San Diego State, Duke all hold 35 plus.
Duke, but see, Duke is in the ACC. That's embarrassing.
Okay, so Southern Miss,
a little stadium.
Boise State, Army, Marshall. I was about to say Cincinnati, but they're also Big 12. New Mexico,
all Group of Five stadiums.
Air Force, UConn, Fresno State, Colorado State. I can keep going. By the way, just letting you know, there's still a long list of schools that had more capacity than what Vanderbilt Stadium.
What's the next smallest stadium in the SEC?
Oh, the SEC.
See what Missouri holds.
All right,
I think Missouri's capacity might be in the 50s.
The smallest stadium from the SEC outside of Vanderbilt is Kentucky, 61,000.
Oh my gosh, Missouri's bigger than that?
Yeah, it is.
I didn't know that.
It is. Mississippi State is at 61.3. Missouri is at 61.620.
So that's kind of like the little stadiums are in the 60s.
Yep.
What is Ole Miss? What do they hold at Oxford?
Oxford is 64.
Okay. All right, so 61. So they're going to be at least 30 to 40% smaller than the smallest stadiums in the league.
Yeah.
You wonder if they were to play. What if Vandy were to get good? Somehow, some way. I don't know how. I mean, good, not 6-6 good. I mean, real, not 9-3 with 3 games. Yeah, but what if they were? You wonder whether or not would they move downtown? Would they move across the river and play in the dome?
Well, the conversation was whenever Geodis Park was being built that Vanderbilt was going to be a part.
Supposed to be the new Vanderbilt Stadium.
Yeah, that was supposed to be also the new Vanderbilt Stadium, but it ended up not being the case. And going back to what we're talking about with what you were talking about with UNC, UNC's NIL last year was about $4 million, and UNC is already saying that their NIL for this upcoming season is at $20 million. So that being the case, flip it around for Vanderbilt, and they're starting to put more in their NIL. It's not a long shot that Vanderbilt could be good, but Tennessee State already plays some games at Nissan Stadium. And so if there was ever this thought of Vanderbilt saying, look, we'll subcontract this thing out so that we can play there, Tennessee State would have a problem with it now with that football program because they play about 3 or 4 games a season at Nissan Stadium.
Wow. All right. And did they ever rebuild their deal? Listen,
they do have one.
I understand it. Yeah, the hole or whatever they used to call it there on campus at Tennessee State. I understand that TSU is in big trouble. I mean, Eddie George did a great job with that program. He put them into playoffs. They're in the FCS. They were in the FCS playoff and all of that kind of stuff. He did not quite with Dion, but Eddie George really did a hell of a job with TSU. But I understand that whole university is in trouble.
Yes.
That they're in big trouble financially. And, who knows? It's not like we haven't seen a university shut down before, Birmingham Southern. I'm just saying. I'm not saying, but I'm just saying that Tennessee State, from what I understand, some pretty good trouble. Tennessee
State this year finished 9-4. They lost in the first round of the playoffs there and finished the year, at least as of right now, because FCS season isn't over with, 21st in the country. And every one of the Tennessee home games were played at Nissan Stadium. And yes, financially for the university, there's rumors that they are financially in a position where the university could close.
All right, let's grab a break. When we come back, short segment when we come back, I am a voter for the Coach of the Eddie Robinson Coach of the Year, and I have the ballot in front of me. I want to run down some names on this because I think that there's something in here that's fascinating that I'll explain to you when we return right here on the Thom Abraham Show.
You don't have to go somewhere else just so you can go somewhere new. Plan your next vacation with Huntsville International Airport and Breeze Airways. Enjoy friendly, convenient, nonstop travel to some of the most exciting destinations in the U.S., including the home of iconic casinos, world-class shows, dining, and entertainment. Las Vegas. With flights starting as low as just $79, Breeze has got you covered with easy, breezy, nonstop flights to Las Vegas. Book nonstop to Las Vegas now at flybreeze.com.
The company is Eagle Masonry and Insulation, but did you know they're also Eagle Landscaping and Dirt Work? Eagle can take care of all your landscaping needs, including irrigation, sod work, and planting, both plants and trees. On the dirt work side, Eagle can grade and build your pads, haul dirt in or out, and even do erosion control. Philip Love and his team can do it all for you. The website is the same, insulatewitheagle.com, as is the phone number, 256-755-1556. Give them a call and see what Eagle can do for you. Eagle saves you time. Eagle saves you money.
Let's talk about the X's and O's of family entertainment. Every parent in Alabama knows the importance of being able to draw up an activity that'll get you out of the house for a couple of hours. But it needs to be affordable. It needs to be family-friendly. Above all, it needs to be fun. Now, let's talk about high school sports. Bang for your buck, school sports provide the perfect game plan for your family. You'll enjoy all of the drama and excitement competitive sports offer. You'll be supporting the future leaders of our community in a meaningful way. Best of all, you can take the entire family without breaking the bank. Heck, you won't even dent it. Now, enough chalk talk. Let's get out there and see what's playing at the high school in your community. School sports. Good for our kids, good for our community. This message presented by the Alabama High School Athletic Association and the Alabama High School Athletic Directors and Coaches Association.
1 in 3 adults in America have pre-diabetes, but most don't know it. To let people know it can be reversed before it becomes type 2 diabetes, professional basketball player Julius Randle is doing everything in reverse.
I'm only dunking with reverse windmills. I drove the whole way to practice in reverse. I don't recommend it. This move's called the reverse shuffle. I do recommend it. And it took me months to learn how to speak in reverse, like this. Years 10 almost for diabetes type 2 with living Ben has mom my. In other words, my mom has been living with type 2 diabetes for almost 10 years. So together, we want to say to the 84 million Americans at risk, exercise and healthy eating can help reverse prediabetes. Start by taking a simple 1-minute risk test at doihaveprediabetes.org.
Brought to you by the Ad Council and its prediabetes awareness partners.
Bet he can't say that in reverse.
Welcome back, Thom Abraham Show. Segment of the show is brought to you by Owen Home Appliance Center, where right now you can get to Owen Home Appliance Center and get a complete Frigidaire kitchen. You buy the fridge, the range, and a microwave, you get the dishwasher free. What a deal that is. Or if you need a commercial kitchen, got one of them huge families like Joe's in-laws, and they all come over to the holiday season. For the holiday season, you can get ready with brands like Viking and Miele and KitchenAid and Z-Line and Cafe. They're all great down there at Owen Home Appliance Center. Mike Owen does such a wonderful job. Quality products, quality pricing, quality service. Should just name it Quality Owen Home Appliance Center, because that's what they got. All right, welcome back. And Joe, I've got the Eddie Robinson Coach of the Year ballot here in front of me. College Football Writers Coach of the Year ballot. And what I think is very interesting is when I look at the finalists for this is the National Coach of the Year, not the SEC Coach of the Year. This is the National Coach of the Year, right? Here are your finalists: Shane Beamer, Kurt Signetti, Spencer Danielson, Boise State, Kenny Dillingham over at Arizona State, Marcus Freeman, Dan Lanning, Rhett Lashley, Jeff Monken, and Kirby Smart. It's very interesting that the SEC Coach of the Year, Clark Lee, isn't even nominated as a National Coach of the Year. And I'll just say this. I think Clark Lee is a great guy. We've had him on the show. I think he's tremendous. I think the job. Ooh, look at that skin you got on.
Dude, I was wondering when you were going to mention this.
Oh,
I was wondering.
It.
The funny thing is, and I know I just derailed you, but the funny thing
is,
you're
talking about the WZZN TV.
Yes, on WZZN TV, you can see it. Is that when you were complaining about it yesterday, I was actually in the middle of making it for you as you were started complaining about it, and you had no idea. And I'm just like, yo, well, I'm just working on it right over here. So thank you.
I like that. I'm gonna take a picture of the picture. Is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna take a picture of that screen. I'm gonna have to take a picture of that and send it to the family. That's cool. All right, so Clark Lee is a great guy. There's no doubt about it. Shane Beamer was the SEC Coach of the Year. Not 6-6 Clark Lee. Yes, they beat Alabama and they were close against Texas and so on, and beating Auburn, most people did. I don't know about you, Joe. Would you have voted Shane Beamer or Clark Lee as the SEC Coach of the Year?
I probably would have went Beamer, and I think the reason why Clark Lee is getting it because again it's the school that he's at, and I know how good of. I mean, Clark Lee is an amazing guy. He's an awesome person to sit down with and talk with, but Shane Beamer honestly had an argument that they should be in the college football playoff, where Clark Lee got them to 500. He got them to a bowl game. That's a major accomplishment at Vanderbilt, so I can see it, but I would have given it to Beamer.
Shane Beamer's 9-3, just as better than Clark Lee's 6-6. You know, and I don't mean just by numbers. I mean, what Shane Beamer did to go 9-3 and put himself in a conversation where people are arguing for them to be a playoff team is bonkers. All right, so this is I'll take dissension before I hit the submit button. So Joe, here's my ballot for the Eddie Robinson National Coach of the Year. I'm voting Shane Beamer 1. You got to pick 5. I'm voting Shane Beamer 1. National Coach of the Year. Kenny Dillingham at Arizona State, they were picked 12th in the Big 12, won the Big 12. I'm picking him second because he'd have a worse record than Shane Beamer if he was in the SEC. Third, Joe, I'm taking Kirby Smart. They never give this award to guys who do like great. Because, oh, well, it's Kirby Smart, it's Georgia, it's this, is that. Kirby Smart went 10-2 with that team with a lot of turnover, a lot of change, and he didn't win the SEC championship game, and he's in a bye situation. I'm voting Kirby Smart third, National Coach of the Year. Fourth, I went with Jeff Monken from Army. What a story they were all year long. So Army, Jeff Monken, fourth on my ballot. And then fifth is Curt Cignetti. And I love Curt Cignetti, and I owe him a debt of gratitude for hiring my son or getting my son a job at Alabama back in 2007 or 8, whenever it was. But having said that, I mean, they played a popcorn schedule, but still, they're in the playoff, and they went 11-1. So I'm giving Coach Cignetti, I'm putting him on my ballot, but I'm putting him on fifth. So I went Shane Beamer, Kenny Dillingham, Kirby Smart, Jeff Monken, Curt Cignetti. Joe, convince me that I have to change my ballot before I hit the submit button, or tell me I'm good.
The only difference, I understand the Kirby Smart part. The thing for me is I'm looking at Jeff Monken, and I'm not going to say I would have him at 1, but I probably would. This is my problem when it comes to voting for myself, is I would put him at least 2 because you don't get red shirts. You don't get to bring transfers in. You don't get to do any of this stuff that all the other colleges do. And you have that team with only 1 loss, and again, another team that arguably had an argument to be in the college football playoff. The Jeff Monken, if he's not 1 or 2, like that's the one I would look. And the other one, I really would probably put Rhett Lashley at 1 with SMU because I would put him at 1. You're talking about a program that was a G5 coming into, even though it's the ACC, and they are in the college football playoff and with a brand new type of schedule and a brand new type of team, and they're going against every single thing. Rhett Lashley did an amazing job with getting SMU there. I just think that obviously we're not giving him the credit he deserves because it's SMU and it's the ACC. And then I would probably have Shane Beamer there at 3, because what Beamer has done at South Carolina, he has set them up for success over the next 2 or 3 seasons, and potentially himself getting a massive job if this team wins next year as well.
All right. I gave Monken my second. I'm not coming off of Beamer as 1. I gave Monken the second, all right, and moved Kenny Dillingham to 4. Now the question is, would you take Rhett Lashley over Kirby Smart?
I see what you're saying about the players and the coaches that, they don't get these awards because they win so often. It's kind of like, it's like the Nick Saban
effect.
Doesn't it
count that you got great players? I mean, the fact that, recruiting is part of coaching, the fact that he's so good year in and year out, I think,
But if I was even comparing this to other jobs that Kirby Smart has done at Georgia as far as coaching wise, I wouldn't make this his top season either to be able to vote it. So I would probably put Lashley over him just because of the fact that I don't even think this was Kirby Smart's best year coaching.
All right, so now I'm going to put Lashley 3. I'm going to put Kirby. Who's getting kicked to the curb here? Who gets kicked to the curb for Kirby? Kenny Dillingham or Kurt Cignetti?
I would probably kick Cignetti, because Arizona State Arizona State has been a wasteland for coaches. You were in the Pac-12, you go over to the Big 12, and not only are you winning, you won the conference, you made the college football playoff, and for a lot of people, especially in the state of Alabama, Kenny Dillingham is a bad word, especially for Auburn fans, because of what he did as OC, and for him to go off and to make this program a winner the way that he did, that's a massive job that he did at Arizona State. And Rhett Lashley, Rhett Lashley left because Rhett Lashley was the scapegoat for Gus Malzahn. It's like, it was, Rhett Lashley, we're getting rid of the OC. And so.
Would you take Rhett Lashley right now over Hugh Freeze?
1,000%. I would take Rhett Lashley right now. I will help the man move to Auburn if he needs help.
All right, we'll grab a break. I stayed with my number 1 guy, but I amended a couple of the others. I accepted Joe's input on the Coach of the Year, and so I swapped a couple of those around and put it in. All right, we got a break in here. When we come back, Scott Ramsey will join us next. We're talking Music City Bowl right after this on the Thom Abraham Show.
You're listening to the Thom Abraham Show with Joe Hunk on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
This is Brent Musburger's VSiN Action Update on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Brought to you by G-Bank. Earn cashback rewards on every eligible gaming transaction. VSiN.com/G-Bank. Subject to credit approval, terms and conditions apply.
Tennessee Volunteers move up to number 1 of the AP Top 25 for the first time since 2018-2019 after Duke won over Auburn and the Kansas Jayhawks lost twice last week. Tennessee meets Miami at Madison Square Garden as part of the Jimmy V Classic today. Vols laying 17 with a total of 145. Arkansas also in the Jimmy V Classic. They're a 3.5-point underdog against 14th-ranked Michigan. Coming up in the NFL on Sunday, the Tennessee Titans hosting the Cincinnati Bengals as a 5.5-point underdog at Nissan Stadium. Monday night, Falcons laying 4.5 at the Raiders. Mike Sennett, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Hey folks, this is Arthur Seaton, managing partner at University Kia, proudly saying Roll Tide and War Eagle. Stop into University Kia today and shop one of the area's largest selection of new Kias, including Fortes, Seltos, Telluride, and Popular Carnival, and fully electric EV6. View all the great specials at universitykia.com and get pre-approved in minutes so you can drive home your new Kia you really want, because we want to see you in a University Kia.
When you call most roofing companies, all you'll hear is, you need a new roof. Not when you call Fleming. At Fleming Roofing and Restoration, we're focused on your needs, whether it's an easy repair or a full roof replacement. Folks around here have trusted Fleming since 1965 for all their residential and commercial roofing needs. And as the area's storm damage experts, Fleming knows all the ins and outs of the insurance claims process. Log on FlemingHSV.com to schedule your free estimate today. Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We show up.
You need a lawyer and pick up the phone. I'm attorney Gary Lackey. When you call for a lawyer, where does that phone ring? It might be in a call center somewhere, maybe 100 miles away, but my phone rings in my office.
The Lackey Law Firm.
I'm attorney Justin Lackey. My phone rings in my office too.
So does mine. I'm attorney Jennifer Lackey. And when you've been hurt and need help, we're here. We're the ones who take your call.
And get what you deserve.
You want to talk to your lawyer. You don't want to reach a call center. With the Lackey Law Firm, that never happens.
The Lackey Law Firm.
And this is the most important part. We'll treat you like family because that's exactly what we are.
The Lackey Law Firm.
And I'll go you one better. If you can't come to us, we'll come to you.
The Lackey Law Firm. The Lackey Law Family. 1-800-4-RIGHTS.
No representation is made that the quality of the legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
From the Fox 54 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Emily Owen. Despite seeing sunshine throughout this Thursday, high temperatures only expected to rise into the upper 40s, lower 50s in most areas, so still going to be a little chilly out there. Heading into our Thursday night, clouds will start to increase ahead of our next system that's expected to move in this weekend. Low temperatures going to be falling into the mid and upper 30s for the overnight. I'm Fox 54 meteorologist Emily Owen on your home for ESPN Radio 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
You know, this process is all about talking ball.
Listen to Talkin' Ball with Scott Tyson and Drew DeArmond.
What did they want privacy for? To just start talking ball.
Every weekday morning, wake up with Scott and Drew. It's Talkin' Ball. 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
And welcome back to Thom Abraham Show. This segment of the show is brought to you by the TransPerfect Music City Bowl. That's right. You guys have been playing all season long and beat the big dog for tickets to the Music City Bowl. You've won a record number of tickets from me. I mean, I don't know. I'm going to have to go buy more tickets, I guess, to take care of all you guys. But it's a really salty matchup. Iowa coming in out of the Big Ten to take on a Missouri team that was very, very good all season long as well. And joining us to talk about it from the National Sports Council is Scott Ramsey. Scott, welcome in. How are you?
Doing great, Tom. How are you doing?
I am fantastic, and it's always exciting this time of year. We get down to the last few minutes and go ahead and get the matchup set and just kind of pull back the curtain for us a little bit here and how this matchup came about. An Iowa team, the Iowa contingent always seems to travel really, really well, and a Missouri team out of the SEC that I don't think has been to Nashville yet.
Yeah, you know, I think from the big picture is we've got two teams that won 17 games in the Big Ten SEC that, you know, put almost 8 teams in the 12-team playoff. So, you know, anytime you get teams that are successful in those two leagues, and you know, even better than that, they were 11-6 inside the league. I think we're going to have a great football game on the field. We're the only game on Monday, so it's a great opportunity for both those fan bases to travel down to Nashville and spend a long weekend with us and see the game. And we're very optimistic there. But, you know, I'm pretty excited about it. We've never had Missouri in the bowl game. It's our 27th game. Certainly we had Iowa 2 years ago against Kentucky. And I feel like we're giving their fans a little mulligan because that was the year that the Cowboys played the Titans on Thursday. We played on Saturday morning, and, man, the city was full. So we didn't have a lot of room for their fans. So, so this year, you know, I'm excited about having Coach Ferentz back, and certainly Coach Drinkwitz is very excited about Nashville. And, yeah, heck, they tied for 4th in the SEC, I mean, with Alabama, South Carolina, and Ole Miss. So certainly a great year on the field, and looking forward to having them in our city.
Talk about how the game is made, because some people have asked about, you know, how these games came together, and I got to ask you, because you're in the bowl world and you work this. I have thrown it out there rhetorically, you know, for all fall long. Why is it? I mean, is there any thought in the future that the teams that lose in the first round of the playoffs would be eligible to play in a bowl game, because the teams that win are going and playing in a bowl game 10 days later? Why wouldn't the teams that lose have the opportunity to go and play in a bowl game? Because it feels like we took some really good teams out of the rotation here, and they're going to be done on you know, the 20th or the 21st, which is typically when the bowls, you know, pretty much when they start, and you guys don't have access to some of those other teams.
Well, I mean, it's certainly one of the ideas that has been discussed, but I think an easier answer, and I'm going to go maybe a little different direction than just directly saying I know why, is that, man, we're really trying to put together this last 2 years of this contract cycle and get to what I think is going to be a completely revamped postseason starting in 2026. And I say that from the standpoint in the last, we signed a 6-year agreement with the SEC and the Big Ten in 2019. Now, look what's happened since then in just rapid pace.
Right.
Obviously, we had COVID. There's really not just but almost a 1.5-year disruption. It canceled our game, ironically, Missouri and Iowa, 3 days after we had a downtown bombing, which we'd all like to forget that window of time.
Yeah.
And then you had massive conference realignment. You had the dissolution of the Pac-12, one of the Power Five. You had not only that, but you had a 12-team playoff inserted in. You had massive expansion of the transfer portal, NIL, and all that movement of players and coaches that happened in December. So the system as an overall postseason of college football has had massive disruptions and changes, significant changes over this 4.5 years. So really, now as you look forward to the next contract cycle with ESPN and the CFP, I think that will set the foundation of what the postseason looks like. So whether your idea about the losers of first round, is that how the first round is going to stay? Are we going to stay on campus? We're not going to stay on campus. We're going to stay at 12. We're going to go to 14. We're going to go to more than that.
Right.
How's it going to work? Is it still going to be computers? Still going to be people? What's the bowl system look like if you're going to start blocking out exclusive windows? Obviously, if you're a broadcaster, you're going to carve those out because you're paying premium money and you want that game to be by itself. Well, that's now locking out January 1, the 31st at night, so we're going to have to work around that. And obviously, you got some NFL weekends in and around that in every year. So I think, Tom, this year and next year, you're going to see the system kind of stay as is, and a lot of ideas and a lot of what ifs, and that's going to be decided by the Division I commissioners and the CFP folks. I think about middle or late or third quarter of next year, because we'll be at the end of the contract cycle.
Yeah, and the 900-pound gorilla in the room, let's be honest, you got a stadium being built there, a dome stadium that's going to be, it's those of us that have been around for a minute, the Music City Bowl, the TransPerfect Music City Bowl was one thing 20 years ago. It's become another thing the last several years, and it could be another thing in the future because it's going to be a destination where you guys will have a facility that easily host playoff games, a national championship, to forget about Super Bowls and Final Fours and everything else, but you're going to have this state-of-the-art facility, and so you kind of wonder what the future is and where the Music City Bowl might fit in to all of that if it does become a deal where this whole tournament is a bowl, a bowl game type of tournament.
Yeah, it's a good question. Certainly, it's one that's on our plate. I think again, taking what I just talked about in 26 and beyond is where are the opportunities for Nashville to participate? And I can't answer that yet until they define the system.
Sure.
But certainly a national championship game is on our wish list, and one that we're going to be very aggressive pursuing at the time that they allow us to pursue it. It's like inviting yourself to the party, but you got to wait on the official invitation and then be invited. So, I think, Tom, all those things are in play for us. I think a couple things you think about, the new stadium is remember, we also have a massive East Bank redevelopment that's happening concurrently with the stadium being built. So some of those big events, you're going to have to make sure that you sync those up in timing, because you're not going to want cranes and mud holes and those kind of things over there between the stadium where you're going to have all your activations, whether it's a media compound, whether it's corporate hospitality, whether it's or maybe it's just retail and hotels for the fan experience. So, some of those things here are still a little early in the process. And at the same time, you've got to get in front of the organizations to make sure that, 4, 5, 6, 7 years down the road, you're in that pipeline. we're kind of sitting in that pipeline right now, and we're waiting on, in college football specifically, we're waiting on them to make decisions on what 26 and beyond look like in postseason. Now, that's a regular bowl game. That's championship games. Could we participate in CFP opportunities? Are they going to stay on campus? They could go to more campus. Who knows?
Yeah.
What they're going to decide. But I feel really bullish and optimistic on where we sit as Nashville to have as good a chance to participate in that process as any city in the country.
Yeah, Scott Ramsey with us from the Nashville Sports Council talking about the game that is coming up, and standalone game, as you said, on Monday. This is going to be tremendous on the 30th, and it's Missouri, number 19 in the country, against Iowa Hawkeyes. And I love the contrast of the coaches, too, in this deal. With Kurt Ferenc, I think he's the senior coach, or certainly one of the most senior coaches in all of college football. And Eli Drinkwitz is just, anybody that's ever been to an SEC Media Days know that this guy's fantastic. I mean, he's just great on the podium. I kind of wish you had the old coaches luncheon still, because he would be a lot of fun at that.
It might turn into coaches happy hour, coaches dinner.
It might.
With Eli up there.
It's true. It might, but it is a really, really good matchup of the black and golds, if you will, there. So it's going to be tremendous. Now, some people have asked about, well, what's it going to be like with parking? What's going on with the construction? I don't think there's anything going on down there that should stop people from saying, hey, let's go to Nashville. Those are there listening here in North Alabama or in southern Tennessee. There's no reason to not go to Nashville for this game. I think things are going to be fine as far as access and egress.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I think we as a city have kind of managed through that year, and where we're located in the bowl at the back end of the year, we have those procedures and transportation routes from the shuttles downtown to walkability to parking garages. So you can jump on the website. That's something I think we've gotten used to handling now for this since they started construction in February, quite honestly, Tom. So whether it's a CMA Fest, whether it's concerts, or whether it's the Titans games, I think we've got a good system in place to offer fans a lot of opportunities. And plus you want to park downtown and enjoy the really campus energy and environment of Missouri and Iowa, and walk over the bridge or hop a shuttle and go over and come back. So, I think we've handled it as well as we could, considering we got construction of what's going to be just a tremendous opportunity with the new stadium for us.
Do you guys still do like Battle of the Bands or anything like that?
We do. Yeah. We'll do that Sunday night on the 29th, and a lot of alumni parties and pep rallies and stuff going on with the teams that night as well downtown.
It's a great opportunity to go really and spend 3 days in Nashville. You know what I mean? Go down there Monday, take advantage of the game and all the doings around that. Of course, Nashville, nobody does New Year's Eve like Nashville. It's absolutely incredible. So you stay the next day, take all of that in, chill out a little bit on Wednesday, on New Year's Day, and work your way back to wherever you went. So it's just a great way to kick off a New Year's week, if you will, in Nashville.
Well, we think so. So it sounds like we need the Thom Abraham travel coordination group to come on down.
Yeah, we'll just get this thing done. Well, congratulations on making a great game, and I think it's going to be fantastic. We're sending a bunch of people up there. We've been doing this for 10, 12 years with Beat the Big Dog, and anybody that beats me in the weekly picks for college football games gets tickets to the TransPerfect Music City Bowl, and everybody is beating me this year. I have to lean on. I might have to go to the ticket window and buy some more tickets, because I'm sending a bunch of people up there to that game. That's for sure, man.
I don't know, Tom. I think you laid down just to be nice to your listeners.
Make them feel good a little bit. All right, man. Well, we appreciate you as always. Always good to catch up with you, and have a great bowl week.
You got it. Appreciate you. Thanks.
All right, thank you. That's Scott Ramsey, and peeling back the onion a little bit there and what's going on in the whole bowl scene. And Nashville's going to be a huge player. No matter what iteration happens going forward, Nashville's going to play a big part, because they got state-of-the-art stadium being built there. I mean, they're going to have to be a big part of it. That's for sure. All right, we'll get a break in here. We will come back with more right after this, wrapping up hour number 1. It's the Thom Abraham Show. More in a moment.
You're listening to the Thom Abraham Show with Joe Hunk on 97.7 ESPN.
Scott Ramsey, but we got to get out of here. And come back with Steve Merril next, and then beat the big dog. It's all coming up right here on your Thursday edition of the Thom Abraham Show.
Tom Luganbill here for my friends at Woody Anderson Ford. Bobby White and his team take great pride in their service department, and you can see it the moment you walk into those beautiful new service lanes. And just like a championship team, they all work together to make sure your experience is second to none, whether you drive a Ford or not. Also, check out the gold certified pre-owned inventory at Woody Anderson Ford for great deals every day. Stop by and see them at Jordan and Sparkman or at Woody Anderson of Madison on Hughes Road, or visit WoodyAndersonFord.com.
From heirloom diamonds to contemporary jewels, Loring & Company is the place to find something truly special. Whether shopping for a diamond ring for that once-in-a-lifetime occasion or marking a milestone birthday or personal achievement with a Rolex watch, you'll find just the thing in our edit of the world's most sought-after brands, including David Yurman, Roberto Coin, Marco Bicego, and Fopé. Expect a treasure trove of the world's most unique, even breathtaking earrings, rings, necklaces, and bracelets, making choosing just one piece a challenge in itself. Loring & Company Jewelers on Airport Road.
Gunner's Landing is one of the Tennessee Valley's finest golf experiences. Just 35 minutes from downtown Huntsville, Gunner's Landing's 18-hole championship Jewel is open to the public 7 days a week. Located in the foothills of the Appalachian Mountains, Gunner's Landing offers you a golf experience like no other. With beautiful Lake Gunnersville views throughout the round, Gunner's Landing is golf the way nature intended. Gunner's Landing's club repair shop offers a full range of services, including re-gripping and adjusting the lofts and lies of your clubs, even putters. Since the work is done in-house, your clubs will be returned to you in a timely manner, unmatched in the North Alabama area. It is Gunner's Landing. Schedule your tee time today at gunnerslanding.com. That's gunnerslanding.com.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. The spotlight today on North Carolina, where that school will introduce new football coach Bill Belichick. Live coverage at 2 Eastern on the ESPN family of networks. The UNC Board of Trustees today approved his 5-year contract. This is the first college coaching job for Belichick, an 8-time Super Bowl champion. West Virginia announced today it's hired Rich Rodriguez as its football coach, his second stint with the Mountaineers coming 17 years after he left his alma mater for the Michigan job. He spent the past 3 seasons at Jacksonville State. ESPN's Adam Schefter reports 49ers running back Isaac Guerrero, sprained foot, does plan to play tonight against the Rams. NBA, ESPN's Shams Charania reporting that LeBron James likely out tomorrow when the Lakers take on the Timberwolves. He missed Sunday's game with foot soreness and was excused from practice yesterday due to personal reasons.
WZZN, Union Grove, Huntsville, Alabama. 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Looking for your next adventure to be out of this world but don't have enough money to buy a spaceship and leave orbit? Well, look no further than Divergent's VR theme park off of Governor's Drive Southwest in Huntsville, Alabama. Are zombies more your style? How about driving your favorite cars on the world's fastest track? Or maybe a gorilla game that has you climbing up tall trees to escape other gorillas? Wait, that's actually a thing? Huh. Would you look at that? For whatever adventure you can dream of, call 256-203-4128 to get your VR adventure started now.
You've got to experience Toyotathon at Bill Penny Toyota. They've got the selection with over 700 new Toyotas to choose from. And they've got the extras with Bill Penny perks and a 10-year unlimited warranty. So get on over to Bill Penny Toyota today and experience Toyotathon. Bill Penny Toyota in Huntsville and online at BillPennyToyota.com. Bill Penny's Toyota 10-year unlimited warranty is valid through the 10th year of ownership. Valid on new vehicles only. See dealer for details.
Everything you need is just a click away.
I should up sometimes, too, man.
Okay, almost everything.
Come on, pal. Tell your fortune.
Log on today. 977ESPN.com. 977 ESPN, The Zone.
need to be more like a dog.
Like what you guys are doing. You've got your fingertip on the pulse of your listeners. You guys know what they're talking about.
Be a dog.
God bless the show. You are the Messiah.
We need more dogs.
This is the best show on radio.
The big dog, Thom Abraham, is here with you.
Hey, I see you. Hey, I see you, dog.
So settle in and get your bark on.
That's my dog.
Now live. Here he is, the big dog.
Let's go, baby!
Thom Abraham.
How you doing? 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 How you doing?
Look, I don't speak Spanish.
I don't know how to say this, so I'm going to choose my words very carefully. I think you're a psycho.
Do you know who I am?
I mean, that guy sounds like Elle McPherson farting into Miles Davis' trumpet.
I guess I'm on here. Am I on? Can somebody respond?
Get off my lawn.
I have to drag my Yankee ass out of here.
And welcome back. Hour number 2 of the Thom Abraham Show. This segment brought to you by the award-winning service department at Woody Anderson Ford. There for your routine checkups for your Ford or other brands. But if you have a bigger problem, I mean, their guys down there are studs. They got that expert service technicians. They're going to quickly diagnose it. They're going to use state-of-the-art tools to resolve it. They'll get you right as well. So it's not just about the belts and the hoses and the fluids and all that kind of stuff, but also they take care of your brake work, your tranny work, and the great body shop they got down there as well. And don't forget the Woody Anderson Ford mobile service, where they'll come out to you and they can do things like change the oil or rotate your tires or, you know, do parts replacements like those new windshield wipers or lights and so on and so forth. They do it all at Woody Anderson Ford. Just go to WoodyAndersonFord.com to learn more. That's WoodyAndersonFord.com. All right, our good friend Steve Merril. By the way, he's on the road today, so usually you see Steve's smiling face right alongside each mine, but not today as he is out there on the road, but he is kind enough to join us here for a few minutes anyway, and he is on the Neighbors Wealth Management hotline. Steve, welcome in. How are you?
No, working, but just had to leave the office early. We don't have all the college football shows and videos that I normally do this time of the week for Wager Talk. It's kind of the off week with college football.
Not for nothing, but last Sunday dropped a little 5-0 on NFL game. I mean, I've never seen 5 NFL games from you on a Sunday, and 5-0 on the NFL games, and then threw in a college basketball game to make it a nice 6-0 day. I mean, we talked about how rough November was on a number of handicappers, and you slipped a little 6-0 out there for your clients on Sunday. That was a good job by you.
Yeah, I mean, we were up like over 80 net games the first 10 months of the year, and I think we were negative 11 games in November, right? And everyone thought the sky was falling, and then we went 6-0 on Sunday. So, you know, it's just a long-term grind. I do like December a lot. Not only is the NFL in full swing, but the college bowls. You know, the bowls can be tricky, but we had a great bowl season last year, as you know. We pick our spots, and the uncertainty actually leads to good plays sometimes. And then, of course, with all the playoff games, we have a lot more certainty this year. But, yeah, as you said, don't forget about basketball. It was actually an NBA play last Sunday, and I really liked that spot, Tom, because the Warriors had lost to the Timberwolves on Friday night, and it was a quick rematch on Sunday. You know, little spot plays like that, situational plays are just so great in the NBA.
You know, one of the things we can count on is, you know, it's going to be interesting to see if this is a trend going back the other way with players playing in bowl games. What we've seen that Jalen Milroe, for example, has said that he will, in fact, be the starting quarterback for Alabama against Michigan, and that's good to see. And it'll be interesting to see. Now that Tide has had a history of that under Nick Saban, we wondered if it would change at all, you know, with Kalen DeBoer. But it's good to see him saying that he's going to play. And, you know, if he's going to play, I'm sure there's some other guys that are going to play as well. And, you know, and that makes it a little bit easier.
Yeah, as of last night, you know, Cam Ward said he's going to play for Miami of Florida. We'll see if that changes. You know, I would still make it 50-50. I'd be very careful handicapping games like that in advance. But, yeah, the key is the quarterback. You know, a lot of times, you know, these key receivers or linemen or whatever, you know, especially for these powerhouse teams, the guys that the backup players are ready to go. You know, we see this a lot in the NBA. You know, when a star player's out, if you just blindly bet on those shorthanded teams in the NBA, you've done quite well. I really think quarterback's the key. Not only because it's the most important position in all of sports other than pitcher or goaltender, but also because it's the team leader, right? So if a guy like Cam Ward plays, you know, or Bama has their guy there, you know, it's going to make everybody else step up and play as well and take it serious. But then again, you get a guy like Miller Moss last year, came in for USC. You know, Caleb Williams sits, the number 1 overall draft pick. and Miller Moss comes in with 5 touchdown passes in the bowl game, and he actually was very mediocre during the season this year. So you have to dig a little bit deeper. It's kind of like handicapping the NFL preseason.
You know, I think that, too, you know, when you speak about Merril, I think that a guy's character and his education level and so on, I think goes a long ways towards them making decisions like this. I mean, he just won the Campbell Award, the Campbell Trophy, as the college football's top scholar athlete in 2024. And you think about that. It's a well-spoken guy, well-thought-of guy. You know, a lot of fans, there were times where they were upset with him and so on, and I get all of that. But this is good people. And, you know, I think when you get a guy like that that's winning something like the Campbell Trophy, and then, you know, you can almost rely on him that he's going to make the decision to finish what he started.
Yeah, and I hope the trend is reversing. I mean, it's gotten pretty ridiculous the last several seasons with, you know, everyone just sitting out. And I've always used the argument, you know, if you're going to do that, why not sit out in November? Why not sit out the season finales? You know, it just doesn't really – it's just kind of arbitrary how they, you know, they play every single game, then they sit out one game. You know, the risk of injury is always there. So I'm hoping things are starting to turn around. And it looks like so far, like you said, that we're kind of heading in the right direction this bowl season. And, of course, having – 12 teams that have something big to play for versus just 4 teams makes a difference also.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. All right, so before we get into some of the games, I want to have a little fun with you on the Bill Belichick thing, because he's speaking right now. He's accepting the job at UNC, which is mind-boggling to me on so many different levels. They keep saying, by the way, they keep referring to him as taking over the program, running the program. They never really say coach the program. So I'm wondering if he's going in like a CEO. I'm sure that he's going to bring his son Steven with him, who's the defensive coordinator at Washington. He'll be the de facto coach or coach in waiting. His other son Brian is the DB's coach up there at in New England. They were a 6-6 team this year. Okay, so these are already. There's some future things out there and about North Carolina. So let me throw them out there and get your reaction to them. Over or under 7 wins. They were 6-6 this year. Remember, they opened 3-0 and then lost 4 straight. What do you think? Over or under 7 wins next year for North Carolina?
Well, you know, your first reaction is with the transfer portal, the NILs and stuff. He can get whoever he wants. But then again, we saw this same thing at Colorado with Coach Prime, and I think that's the analogy I'm going to use. Colorado started, 3-0 straight up that year, and they didn't get anywhere close to 7 wins after that. So maybe this could be the Colorado Part 2 scenario now at UNC. I've never heard a bet against Belichick, and I do think they probably have a little bit more talent coming in than Colorado probably had. Colorado was a really bad team. You got to remember the year before he took over. So, yeah, I'm not going to bet against them. 7.5 is probably priced where it should be.
Yeah, I mean, and you know, like I said, he won 6. I mean, is he worth 1? I mean, they underperformed. They were better than going into the season.
Tom, like one game the year before. I mean,
they were 1-11. Yeah, they were 1-11, and then they won 4 games under him, and then this year, you know, of course, 10-2. So and the thing with North Carolina is, like I said, they underperformed what they were supposed to. I mean, they're over and under this year going into this season was 8.5. So, you know, and they kind of stumbled. So, you know, I think that's a part of the deal. The look-ahead line for the Clemson-UNC game in, well, they're calling it Chapel Bill, by the way, now. They're calling it Chapel Bill. But the look-ahead line at Chapel Bill is Clemson getting 6. Which is, I think, an interesting thing. How about this one? Will North Carolina qualify for the 2025 college football playoff tournament? Yes is 8-1. Let's not get crazy. I mean, 8-1. I mean, come on. I'd be on the other side of that all day long.
Yeah, well, I was going to say, obviously, if they're only supposed to win 7.5 games, they're not going to make the playoffs, right? But then again, you're not getting 8-1 on the over 7.5. But 8-1's a pretty good price. I don't think it'll happen, but then again, that's saying, what, a 12% chance? So it's probably about right. Probably about 8%.
Here's a fun one. How many current Power 4 players will transfer to UNC for 2025? The over-under is 13 players out of the transfer portal. You think there'll be you think there'll be an exodus of players heading for UNC out of the Power 4? That's good. How many years will Bill?
I mean, with any of these numbers, you got to make a number in your head before you hear it. And my first thought was like 20, so I'll take the over, but I might be way off.
How many years will Bill Belichick coach at North Carolina? The over/under is 2.5 years.
Yes, that was my line. Right
2.5?
as you said that, I said 2.5. It's spot on. There's no value there. No, seriously, I'm making lines as you tell me these. Actually, don't tell me the lines, and I'll tell you what I think. I would have said 2.5.
All right, here's one. I don't know that you can make a line on this one, but here's this one. This is an actual thing you can bet on. What will happen first with Bill Belichick's 24-year-old girlfriend? What will happen first with Bill Belichick's? Will she enroll for classes at UNC? That's minus 120, or date a UNC football player? That's minus 120 as well. So you can get
that's a no-brainer. That's a great bet, actually. They'll tie your money up for 2.5 years, but it's either enroll in classes or nothing. I mean, we all know that, but that's so funny because I knew exactly where you're going with that one. I was like, 'cause I was waiting for that one to come up. Hudson, 24-year-old Hudson. I was going to say earlier, will she take classes there? I actually like that bet. That's a no-lose bet. You're either going to push or win on that one.
I said it wasn't a May December relationship. It's a dead newborn relationship. I mean, my God, that's crazy. Here's one. What will happen first? Bill Belichick is fired at the end of the 2025 season, or Bill Belichick and his girlfriend break up. I think they'll break up before he gets fired. That's what I mean. The chances are. I mean, he'll probably go younger.
I mean, the 25 season would be next year, correct? So that'd be 1 year.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah,
and you can also bet
he's not getting fired after next year.
Yeah, and you can also bet on what fraternity Bill Belichick will join. I don't know if he's going to join a fraternity.
That's a good one because I watched Old School again about 2 weeks ago, so that's actually a really funny one.
That'd be perfect. Pretty salty game in the NFL tonight. I mean, San Francisco hanging on by a thread to faint playoff hopes. The Rams charging and have been playing really good football. Yet you can get 2.5, 3 with the Rams tonight in San Francisco. Both teams on the West Coast. It's a short trip up the coast, so it's not one of those bad Thursday night trips. But what do you think about this thing tonight?
Yeah, part of that 6-0 sweep last Sunday was an outright underdog best bet on the Rams. And I did my NFL Fade the Public video last week. There were 4 public sides. And I didn't get – the only one I really disagreed with the public on was Buffalo. And I said I thought that was a spot we could fade the public last week because, first of all, I always like to take quality teams when fading the public. And the Rams were really the only choice last week. The other 3 were just ugly dogs like always. But also thought it was a terrible spot for Buffalo for several reasons. The cross-country trip, in fact, they hadn't played out there. They've only played out there a handful of time in decades. They were coming off back-to-back big wins, the Kansas City home win, and then the Sunday night snow win against the 49ers, which clinched the division, and then they play the Lions this week. So it was a terrible spot for Buffalo, and Buffalo still played a great game. It's just they couldn't stop the Rams. I think that does linger here, and although it's a short trip, I think the 3-day travel rest spot is much worse for L.A. Meanwhile, San Francisco was on the other end of that snow game. It was 3 straight losses. They come home, and they smack Chicago. They had a 310-2 yardage edge. I saw a tweet on X last week that said if you walked to your refrigerator at halftime, you had more total yards than the Bears had. So it really was a beatdown, and they were able to kind of chill in the second half and take it easy. So I do think the scheduling spot is a huge edge for the Niners tonight. I'd agree with you. I think the Rams are the better overall team, but situationally I like San Fran. And by the way, this line was 3 yesterday. It's now 2.5. And the reason is because, ding, ding, red flag alert, the Rams are a public dog. So they go from being a public play against last week to a public darling 4 days later. I think that's another red flag.
Since you mentioned it, we'll talk about that Buffalo-Detroit game. Detroit only laying 2.5 at home against the Bills. And the Bills locked into their playoff position pretty much. I mean, still playing a little bit for that top seed, but not really with the gap opening a little bit with Kansas City. I don't know. I'm feeling Detroit there. I think Detroit's been bored for a little while, but I think this gets their attention. Potentially a Super Bowl preview. I mean, how bonkers would that be if Detroit and Buffalo ended up playing in the Super Bowl? I mean, just play that thing in Cleveland or something like that. Don't even go to New Orleans for it. Just play it up there in the snow. But I don't know. First blush, I look at Detroit only laying 2.5 at home. I think they win that game going away, maybe.
Yeah, the concern I have with Detroit right now is they do have some injuries, like a couple lines deep, especially on the defense. It's starting to cluster a little bit. That's one of the reasons I was leaning towards the over last week against Green Bay, and that game totaled 65.
Yeah.
If that is a concern, obviously the over would be your default play here. I'm not in a hurry to play overs when game total's 86 like it did last Sunday in LA. And by the way, I would lean tonight over as well with the Rams-Niners. But once again, with the Rams coming off that high-scoring shootout, it just does worry you a little bit in the quick turnaround. But these are two really good offensive teams. I still am concerned with Detroit's defensive injuries, but I think Detroit's the best team in the NFL when they're healthy. Buffalo's really good as well. But then again, Allen had, 6 touchdowns last week, 42 points, and they still don't win the game, no turnovers. I think Detroit is the better team, and the line did look a little short to me as well. It's 2.5. I thought it would be at least 3 or higher.
Another one that looked a little goofy, Steve Merril with us here from WagerTalk.com. Another one that looked a little crazy to me was the Chiefs are only a 4.5 point favorite at Cleveland, which is just, the grease fire now, mailing it in, you would think. But Kansas City doesn't blow anybody out. Every game they play is a one-score game. But now this is a 3-10 Browns team. What about the Chiefs laying 4? It opened at 5.5. It's all the way down to 4. I don't know what I'm missing.
Yeah, I haven't done my public info yet, but it's hard to imagine that the public's not going to be all over Kansas City this week. But then again, it's really difficult to disagree with this one. If I'm going to take a bad team against one of the best teams, I want to have a situational edge, and I don't think this is a flat spot for Kansas City. Now, you can make the argument they're coming off the Sunday night game against the Chargers, so it is a little bit of a letdown spot there. But, yes, they don't win games by more than a touchdown, but they win games. And whenever you have a point spread below a touchdown like this in the NFL for decades now, if you pick the straight-up winner, you cover about 84% of the time. So here again, if you're playing Cleveland, you got to like them outright. So you put at least half of it on the money line. So it's either Kansas City lay the points or you play a good amount on Cleveland money line, because I just don't think the point spread in this case will matter.
And then I'll just give you one more. The Battle of the Keystone State, the Pittsburgh Steelers. This is another potential Super Bowl matchup, but the Pittsburgh Steelers are getting 5.5 at Philadelphia in a, prove-it game, I think, a little bit for Pittsburgh, even though we say that every week about them, and now they got 10 wins. I mean, I don't know. Mike Tomlin's like the coach of it forever, even though he's only got one Super Bowl win in 17 years. We keep looking at the Steelers, and at the beginning of the year, we look at their roster, and we say, that's a 6-10 team, and then the next thing you know, they're 10, 11, 12 wins.
Well, and the thing about Tomlin is he's consistent. He has a winning record. He never has a losing record. I think he's had some 500 seasons, but he has a 500 or better season every year. So that always makes him dangerous, especially as an underdog. I do think Philly's probably the better team in this game, but then again, we talk about that Detroit-Buffalo line at 2.5. Now this one is 5.5. So it does get to a point where the point spread might start to matter in a game like this. I do think these are two teams that are capable defensively. Philly's got the better offense, though, and I would expect them to win this one. But 5.5 is starting to get a little bit pricey now. They're above that key number of 3 and 4.
And the best college rivalry, no matter what, is Army-Navy. I mean, it just absolutely is. And again, that first gut reaction sometimes, I know that this is always a slobber knocker. I get it. But 39? I mean, Army's pretty stout. They're liable to score 39 themselves. I mean, that feels like a low number in the Army-Navy game. Army a 6.5 point favorite, 39 to back number.
Well, I'm glad to hear you say that, because it's under or pass without a doubt in these service academy games. It's been that way for decades, and it almost seems too obvious to me. So I like to hear that there's another side to it, because you want balanced action. I actually just did a standalone video on Wager Talk TV for this game, which will be posted later tomorrow. And it's a 44-11 situation now, Tom, for the past couple of decades. If you play the under in service academy games, that of course would be Army, Navy, or Air Force, any combination. Yeah. 44-11 to the under. Now, with that said, the average line has been about 46.5 over the years, okay? And like you said, it's now 39. The average score has been 38.5 points. So you're right, the line is getting bumped down a lot lower now. However, over the last 7 years, the under is 18-3-1. So even though the lines have been in the high 30s, low 40s the last few years, it's actually gone under 86% now versus 80%. So I still think it's under or pass. The reason it keeps working is because you look at the overall stats, the number looks too low, but both teams are going to run the ball every play. That keeps the clock going. It shortens the game. And most importantly, the real X factor is that both teams simulate the option in practice every day, so they understand it better defensively. And we just see low-scoring games every year. It just seems like they can't set these totals low enough. And the under is now 18-3-1 since the last 7 years in these service academy games. And I think it's the only play again in this one.
Steve Merril, Wager Talk TV, wagertalk.com. Check him out, doing a tremendous job, and was doubly good for me last night. Funny story, Steve. You gave your clients the Miami Heat, not on the money line, which were really nice, but it was like eight or the Atlanta Hawks. What did I say? I don't know what I said. Yeah, it was 11 against the Knicks. It was 8.5, I think, something like that, or 7.5, 8.5, something like that, and they win the game outright. I inadvertently hit the place bet button twice on my app when I put it in there, and I didn't know it until like last night late, and I was getting ready to go to sleep, and I thought, let me check and see how that worked out, and I looked at it, and the count was a little more than it should have been. And I'm like, well, how did that happen? And then I looked at my picks, and it was like I won that game twice. So good job by you. And
wow.
And I inadvertently hit it twice.
Yeah, well, I'm glad I didn't know that pregame, because when the Knicks were up by like 13 points early in the game, the in-game line was 11.5, and I would have been cursing you at that point, and you wouldn't be able to hedge out of it either. Although typical NBA, right? And this is something people can follow. When the Knicks were up by like 13 early, the Hawks were ice cold from 3-point range.
Yeah.
And even though it didn't look good on the court, you kind of statistically, I knew it should have been a closer game, and that's how it played out. By the way, the Atlanta Hawks are looking really good. They had the worst point spread record in the NBA the last couple seasons, and they've been a huge moneymaker this year, including last night for my clients. And they have now beaten the Celtics, the Cavaliers, and the Knicks twice, and I believe the Bucks they've beaten, who they'll play in the semifinals now, this Cup thing. So the Atlanta Hawks were a falling knife for a couple years, and they're a speeding bullet now. And just keep following them. Their team you can make some money with in the NBA this year.
Yeah, Trae Young is the new player that the Knicks fans love to hate. You know what I mean? He's the Reggie Miller of this generation when it comes to being a Knicks slayer. So there you go. All right, man. Appreciate you as always. Great stuff. Check them out. Wager Talk TV. What do you got posting this afternoon?
Yeah, so we have a video on the Thursday night game, which we kind of gave you here. We got that Army-Navy game. Also, my first bowl video for this Saturday. We also have a bowl best bet at Wager Talk. And there's a 10-day special right now, 10 days for just over $9 a day. So check that out, Steve Merril, wagertalk.com.
We got to watch those coaches. We just saw Rich Rodriguez left Jacksonville State. That's in our listening area. And he's going back home to his alma mater, West Virginia, and he will not coach the bowl game, which I hate that. I mean, is it really? The game is in 5 days or something. It's on the 20th. So it's in like 10 days. He can't hang around for 10 days and coach the team he's coached for the last 3 years in a bowl game. I mean, is it that critical to get running out there to West Virginia to take over, the Mountaineers? I don't know. I just hate that. But there is a handicapping edge. Maybe we'll talk about it next week. There is some edge in there, I know, with interim coaches, and how they do.
It's an excellent point, Tom. We talked about motivation with players being there, but you're exactly right. The coaching staff's a big X factor as well. And Rodriguez can't coach that game. He might pull a hamstring running out or a neck muscle studying film.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. What's that all about? I mean, even if you're starting to work on your stuff for transfer portal and everything else, it's fine. I mean, hang around Gadsden and coach Jacksonville State in the Cure Bowl, but that's a whole other story. All right, man.
Sometimes they do. That's what you're.
Yeah, they do.
Sometimes they do. So that's exactly why it's a critical handicapping factor, like you said.
No doubt. Appreciate you as always. Great stuff. Have a great week.
Thanks, Tom.
I mean, really, Joe. Does Rich Rod have? I mean, I like Rich Rod. I mean, he's done a wonderful job for Jacksonville State, transitioning them out of FCS and into FBS, and they've made bowl games. I think he was 18-8 in his 2 years in the FBS with Jacksonville State. That's all fine and dandy, but I mean, do you really have to run off? You can't hang around. What is it, 8 days? What is today, 12? The game is on the 20th. It's 8 days, Joe. You're going to be at West Virginia. He's 61. He's going to be at West Virginia the rest of his coaching career. All right, that's his alma mater. He should have never left there in the first place. He left there. You originally remember he was going to go to Alabama. That didn't work out. He ends up in Michigan. That didn't work out. He sucked at Arizona. He sucked everywhere. Went back to Jacksonville State, got that straightened out. Now he goes back to West Virginia. But you can't hang around for 8 days and coach the bowl game. I mean, come on.
I've never understood why coaches don't want to hang around in places like that, because it gives that new school more publicity while they're on the field during that game. I mean, it's not like they're just going to say Rich Rodriguez of Jacksonville State. They would say the entire time the brand new coach of West Virginia, he's going to be taking over there once this game is over with. Like it would give them even more credibility. I don't see why the reason for staying or not staying would keep him away.
Yeah, I agree 1,000%. All right, we're going to break in here. When we come back, it's time for Beat the Big Dog. Be caller. I tell you what, we'll make it easy. Be the second one in, all right? Be the second one in right now to play Beat the Big Dog, 256-576-4977. You have got an opportunity to win Music City Bowl tickets and some chow. If you don't want the Music City Bowl tickets for whatever reason, you'd rather have Havoc tickets, I can make that happen, but you have to beat me first, and I got a feeling you're not going to, okay? I got a feeling you're not going to. 256-576-4977, caller number 2. Please Beat the Big Dog next.
Lots of wise and well-informed car buyers wait all year long for this time of year because they know year-end deals are worth the wait. Hey folks, Bobby White back again for Woody Anderson Ford. We've got 700 Fords for you to choose from. And if you've had your eye on a 24 F-150, Explorer, Expedition, or Escape, listen up. Come and see us at Woody Anderson Ford today, and you'll drive home with no payments for 90 days, plus get financing as low as 1.9% for 60 months and $1,000 in bonus cash. This is good, and it bears repeating. Come get your best year-end deal on a 24 F-150, Explorer, Expedition, or Escape, and you'll keep your cash for the holidays and make no payments for 90 days. You'll also get financing as low as 1.9% for 60 months. Plus, we're going to throw in $1,000 holiday bonus cash. The year-end is here, and we've got the deals that make it worth the wait. With your good credit, these offers end December 31st, only at Woody Anderson Ford. I'm Bobby White, and I hope to see you soon.
Merry Christmas, everyone. Bob Baumhauer here. Are you out of ideas for those stocking stuffers? Our selection of delicious signature sauces make great stocking stuffers for that chef of the house. Kick up your favorite holiday dish with our legendary hot sauce. If you enjoy our char-grilled black and white chicken, then grab a bottle of our fabulous legendary white barbecue sauce. Would you like to have a Bam Bam shrimp on your holiday menu? That's easy. Just pick up a bottle of Baumhauer's Thai sweet chili sauce. Baumhauer's Victory Grill. Legendary fun, legendary food.
The state's largest orthopedic group is growing to meet the needs of the patients in our community. The Orthopedic Center has long been the most trusted name in orthopedics in North Alabama. So as our area continues on the fast track, so does the need for premier orthopedic care anywhere and anytime you need it. TOC is proud to announce the opening of our new locations in Albertville and Hampton Cove, along with the grand opening of our newest office in Decatur. These clinics will offer the same high-quality orthopedic care you have come to associate with TOC, with the convenience of being closer to home. As a patient, your time is your most precious asset, and we recognize that at TOC. That's why we are also proud to announce the opening of our urgent ortho clinics to handle those bumps and bruises that need prompt attention. These clinics are available to care for acute orthopedic injuries with no appointment necessary. With 38 physicians, 20 centers of excellence, and now more than a dozen locations to serve you, TOC will continue to be the name you turn to for the best orthopedic care at the right time. Visit our website at visittoc.com for more information. TOC, helping you live a better life.
Welcome back, Tom Abraham Show. Joe, I got leaf vacuum envy. My neighbor's got one of them leaf vacuum things.
I was like, what the heck is that?
Well, my neighbor has one of those deals, you know what I mean, where you hook it up to your riding mower, and it's got the two big bags behind it, and you drive it around, and it vacuums up the leaves. We live in a heavily wooded area, and here in the downtown Winchester area, and there's a lot of leaves that are now, with these big oak trees and maple trees that we have and everything else. I hate raking leaves. It's such a pain in the butt. And I just don't like doing it. But I do it, and I've been trying to get my grandsons to help out with it lately and stuff just to give them some work to do. They need to have work to do. But in any event, my neighbor, so I spend, all these hours out there messing around, raking the leaves up, put them in a bag, taking them out to the curb, all that stuff. And then my neighbor, he jumps on his little mower thing out there, and he's got the vacuum going on with the bags in the back, and he just drives around his yard, and in 15 minutes, he's picked up every leaf known to man on his side of the fence. And so I have leaf bag, rake, and bag thing envy is what I have.
No, I understand, and that's definitely heavily wooded area problems. We don't have that issue at our house because there are no trees in our yard. So, yeah, we don't have that issue.
You haven't planted a tree yet, Joe? How long have you lived there? You've
Tom,
been there 5 years now.
The plot of land I live on is 0.14 acres, okay? I barely have enough room for the house at this point in time, okay? If I put a tree in there, the next thing you know, the house is not even going to be on our own property because it'll be pushed out of the way.
You parked the car down the street.
Exactly, because the tail of it is in the neighbor's yard. Yeah, that's how modern homes are being built right now.
All right, now is it Bama Big Rick or Bama Big Rig? Which is it?
I don't know. Ask him.
Well,
Big Rick. R-I-C-K, Big Rick.
See, I had it right.
You had it right.
You know, there are rules to success, my friend. Rule number one is know what you don't know, and know that I gotta know everything you know.
We had a guy that used to call the show. It went by Big Rig or something Big Rig, and we haven't heard from him in a minute. But so I wasn't sure if it was him or not. But Bama Big Rick is going to give it a shot, and we just always ask, don't be a lemon. That's all we don't. Just don't be a lemon.
I don't know how to say this without sounding a little rude, but you're a lemon.
No, don't be a lemon. All right, Rick, welcome in, man. How you doing?
I'm good, Tom. Let's do it.
All right. Do you want to go? We alternate games, so because it's not tie to Big Dog, it's beat the Big Dog, and you get to hear Joe's opinion on these games. A lot of NFL in here, since we really only have one college game of note this week. But do you want to go first on the first game or the second game?
Second game.
Joe, I love the skin that you made for the show. I mean, it's just fantastic.
Thank you.
I mean, it's just like I got ice hanging on my head.
It is.
There, just hitting me in the head with the icicles.
I actually think this is better than the one that we use for the morning blitz. I actually think it is. Ours is kind of staying in theme with our colors, but yours I went full Christmas.
I think it's kind of different, is what it is. I like yours too. I like the morning show one too, but that's a little bit different. All right. What'd you say? What did he say? You're going first
second.
on the first one?
He's going second.
Second game? Okay. All right, then on this game, I'm going first. Here we go. We start tonight. This is a good game. It's a pretty salty game. Rams get 2.5 at the 49ers. And, I like the 49ers. I don't like the Rams ever since they went into these goofy uniforms. They don't even look like an NFL team when they wear this gear. But the Rams have been pretty salty as of late. And 49ers hanging by a thread. I think the wrong team is favored here. I'm going to take the Rams. Joe, what do you got?
I'm actually with you on this. In fact, I actually have the third string running back that's been getting the first string carries on my fantasy football team, and I'm having debate on if I'm going to be playing him tonight. And I believe I'm with you on this. I think the wrong team is favored. I think that San Francisco is way too injured in this one. Even Nick Bosa is questionable in this. That third string running back I was telling you about, Isaac Guerrero, or however you say his name, he's questionable for tonight as well. I'm leaning Rams.
All right, so what do you think, Rick? The Rams get 2.5 tonight at the 49ers.
Rams. Way too many injuries for the 49ers.
All right, so you got the Rams as well. All right, let's go. This one, you guys go first. Joe, Navy gets 6.5 against Army in Washington.
Okay, well then I'm seriously going hard. I'm an Army guy. I'm always going to be an Army guy. I've tried being Navy with as many Marines as friends as I have, but I just can't do it. And I could care less right now what the spread is. Just give me Army.
All right, he says Army. What do you think, Rick? Navy gets 6.5 against the Army.
Yeah, I've got to go Army. Grew up near Fort Rucker, Alabama, so give me Army.
So my daddy is Navy. Through and through, U.S. Saratoga. And he's not listening to the show right now. I just, goodness gracious. Army, they were underdogs against Tulane and went through Tulane like crap through a tin horn. And I love them here in this game. I like the over as well, by the way. That 39 just feels like it's gotten too low. But I'm going to take the Army. I'm going to lay the 6.5. The Army will win this game by a touchdown anyway. Navy will hang, it could hang tough. This could hang tough. This is throw the records out game. But I will take the Army as well as you guys and lay the 6.5. All right, in this next one, I put this one in there because it's Joe's team and against my team. So this is kind of Joe against me. And Joe gets 4.5 at me. All right, the Chiefs minus 4.5 at the Browns. So Joe's getting 4.5 at me. It just I know that the Chiefs play all these close games, but I think the Browns are just kind of like, starting to melt it in, and the freshness of having Jameis Winston as the quarterback starting to wear off. Browns will move the ball around a little bit. Just too many. It's just a very, very good team against not a very good team at all. This line should be more than this. I think the Chiefs finally cruise and win by at least a touchdown in this game. I'll take the Chiefs. I'll take Joe, and I'll lay the 4.5 at me. What do you think, Joe?
So it's funny. I normally would have most likely went with the Browns, but I love what you said about the newness of Jameis Winston, because I think a couple of weeks ago it was, God, I love this idiot. And then now it's, God, he's just an idiot. And so I just think Jameis is going to turn the football over. I think this is Tampa Bay Jameis. So so like, God, I hate this idiot. So just go ahead and give me Chiefs.
All right, so Rick, you got the Chiefs minus 4.5 at the Browns.
There's no way. Famous Amos is going to blow it. Give me the Chiefs.
You got them as well. All right, this one is the Battle of the Keystone State. You guys are first on this. Joe, the Steelers get 5.5 at the Eagles.
Look, I'm still wondering why this is a 5.5 point spread. I think it's because people are still out on Russell Wilson on this. I do think the Eagles are going to win this game, but I think that the Steelers are going to cover that 5.5 point spread on that. So give me the Steelers.
All right, Rick, what do you think? Steelers get 5.5.
Eagles are covered this weekend. They're pissed off. All of the conversation about the wide receivers not getting the ball. Eagles.
I'm going to be on the opposite side of you here. I don't get the 5.5. I think the Eagles win the game by like a field goal. I could see that happening. But the Steelers and Mike Tomlin, they're like Dracula. You got to drive a stake through their heart. I mean, you just can't. This team is just. I just don't understand it. I don't get it. But they are what they are. I'll take the Steelers. I'll take the 5.5. I'll pull for the Eagles because, I have to being a Browns fan. But I don't think it goes to. I mean, he can even win by 4 or 5, and we still not cover the 5.5. So I'll take the Steelers with the points. All right, on this one, I'm first. This one is interesting. A legit potential Super Bowl matchup between the Bills and the Lions. And if the Bills and the Lions meet in the Super Bowl in New Orleans, probably a hurricane will hit and the game will get postponed or canceled altogether. I mean, can you imagine the Bills and the Lions? Neither one of them have ever won a Super Bowl. Bills 0-4, Lions 0 forever, never played in one. And it could happen. It won't, but I'm saying it could. Bills get 2.5 here. It's not enough, man. I know the Lions are banged up all over the place here, but I think the Lions, here this is something that really gets them excited. And the Bills, I don't think that they have much hope anymore for home field in the AFC, especially with the Chiefs playing the Browns. So I'm going to go ahead and take the Lions here, and I'll lay the 2.5, Joe.
I think that if these two teams make the Super Bowl, it'll be very similar to the 2016 World Series, where you'll have the Cubs and Indians, where it's like,
oh gosh,
one of these two teams is about to have a streak broken. The Indians have been to the World Series, but haven't been able to win. They lost in 6 to the Braves. They lost in 7 to the Marlins. It's going to be like that. But I do think that the Buffalo is a better team at this point in time than what Detroit is. So give me the Bills. Give me Josh Allen's playing well. He's making an argument for one of the best quarterbacks in the league.
Well, he's definitely one of the best quarterbacks in the league. They, by the way, this game will be played after the Kansas City Cleveland game, so they'll know what happened with the Chiefs, whether they got upset by the Browns or not. All right, Rick, what do you think? The Bills get 2.5 at the Lions.
Give me the Bills.
All right, he's going to go with Joe and take the Buffalo Bills there. All right, and that one will definitely be in the Friday trifecta as well. All right, and our last one, this is out west. This is the night game. The Green Bay Packers are 2.5-point favorite at Seattle. Seattle's battling for a division championship. Green Bay battling to stay in the wild card deal here. I was a little bit surprised that the Pack are a favorite there. Look, Packers are my second favorite team. I'm pulling for the Packers big time, looking forward to this game. But this is at night in Seattle, 12th man, all that stuff. I don't know if the Packers can go there and win that game. I'm going to take the Seahawks against my better judgment here. I'll take the Seahawks, and I'll lay to 2.5. Joe, what do you got?
Oh, I mean, and I do understand with the question about it. I mean, they did just lose to Detroit, and they lost, last-second field goal. But I just think the Packers are a better team at this point in time. It may be that I don't just trust Geno Smith. I know that Seattle's at home, but, give me Green Bay on this one.
I hope you're right. All right, Rick, what do you think? The Packers -2.5 at the Seahawks.
Yeah, I've got to go against Seattle. The running game is suffering, so give me those cheeseheads.
All right, so you got the Pack in there. I hope you're right on that one as well. They are definitely a better team. If this was like a bowl game and they were playing in the middle of the country, no doubt. But it's that Seattle 12th man Sunday night thing is stuck in my head. All right, so in summation, Rick and I both like the Rams, Army, and the Chiefs. I got the Steelers. He's got the Eagles. I got the Lions. He's got the Bills. I got the Seahawks. He has the Pack. And the funny thing is, I'll pull for the Eagles, Bills, and Pack in those games, knowing that I'm on the other side of those games. But that's just the way it is. All right, Rick, wish you best of luck on this thing. And, don't be a stranger.
Roll Tide.
Roll Tide is right. All right, we'll get a break in here. When we come back, if you're on the line, stay on the line. We'll get you in next, and we'll get the lines opened up. If you want to jump on board, you can do that as well. It's the Thom Abraham Show. More in a moment, right after this.
You're listening to the Thom Abraham Show with Joe Hunk on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
This is Brent Musburger's VSiN Action Update on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Brought to you by G-Bank. Earn cashback rewards on every eligible gaming transaction. VSiN.com/G-Bank. Subject to credit approval. Terms and conditions apply.
NFL Week 15 will start on Thursday night when the San Francisco 49ers take on the LA Rams at Levi Stadium. The Niners are 6-7, and they will continue the rest of the season without running back Christian McCaffrey, while the Rams have won 6 of their last 8, got healthy, and now it's 7-6. One game back of Seattle for the division lead. San Francisco has dropped 3 of 4. The 49ers are a 3-point home favorite, -105 against the spread. The Rams getting the 3 points are -115. On the money line, Los Angeles is at +130. San Francisco -150 with the over-under sitting at 49.5. For VSiN.com, I'm Tony Desiri, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
By now, you know about Eagle Masonry and Insulation, and maybe you know that Eagle also does landscaping and dirt work. But how about after paint work? Shower doors, shelving, and mirrors, all taken care of by Eagle, the same Eagle that takes care of all your masonry, insulation, and landscaping needs. Eagle brings the same level of expertise to all these disciplines, and they're ready to provide you with a free quote. The website is the same, insulatewitheagle.com, as is the phone number, 256-755-1556. Give them a call and see what Eagle can do for you. Eagle saves you time. Eagle saves you money.
Have you discovered Good Company Cafe? The place for breakfast, brunch, lunch, and so much more. Enjoy brunch all day and pair with one of our many seasonal refreshing drinks, including alcoholic and non-alcoholic options. Choose inside or outside on our gorgeous, spacious, dog-friendly patio. And have some fun with friends playing yard games in the courtyard. See catering, to-go options, and lots more at goodcompany-cafe.com. Good Company Cafe, 7500 South Memorial Parkway.
You need a lawyer and pick up the phone. I'm attorney Gary Lackey. When you call for a lawyer, where does that phone ring? My phone rings in my office.
I'm attorney Justin Lackey. My phone rings in my office too.
So does mine. I'm attorney Jennifer Lackey. And when you've been hurt and need help, we're the ones who take your call.
The Lackey Law Firm. The Lackey Law Family. 1-800-4RIGHTS.
No representation is made that the quality of the legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
You've got to experience Toyota-thon at Bill Penny Toyota. They've got the selection with over 700 new Toyotas to choose from. And they've got the extras with Bill Penny perks and a 10-year unlimited warranty. So get on over to Bill Penny Toyota today and experience Toyota-thon. Bill Penny Toyota in Huntsville and online at BillPennyToyota.com. Bill Penny's Toyota 10-year unlimited warranty is valid through the 10th year of ownership. Valid on new vehicles only. See dealer for details.
My name is DeMar Hamlin. I play for the Buffalo Bills, and I play safety. CPR saved my life. I've teamed up with the American Heart Association as a national ambassador to help create a nation of lifesavers, turning bystanders into lifesavers through CPR education and access to AEDs. Nearly 3 out of 4 cardiac arrests that don't happen in hospitals happen in homes. Join me to ensure everyone has the chance to live longer, healthier lives. Visit heart.org/nation.
From the Fox 54 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Emily Owen. Clouds begin to increase ahead of our next system that moves in this weekend for this Thursday night. Low temperatures going to be falling into the mid and upper 30s. Heading into our Friday, we'll see mostly clouds. High temperatures warming into the mid 50s. No rain in the forecast for Friday, but rain does return heading into Saturday afternoon. I'm Fox 54 meteorologist Emily Owen on your home for ESPN Radio 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
This is Steve Moulton from The Drive. Be sure and join us today from 5 to 7 with Wes Neighbors and me. Now back to the Thom Abraham Show on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Welcome back, Thom Abraham Show. Segment of the show is brought to you by the Orthopedic Center, where thousands of area residents have received world-class care from the Valley's most trusted and experienced group of orthopedic surgeons and medical specialists. So if you have a orthopedic problem and you're considering professional care, TOC is the only logical choice. Whether you had a work-related injury or got sidelined playing a sport you love, you need the best care, the best physicians, the best facility to get you back in the game. I think you will agree that the Orthopedic Center is right for you. Stay in the game with TOC. Paulie is up next. Paulie, welcome to the show. How are you?
How you doing, Tom? Real quick, how old is Belichick and how old is his girlfriend?
He is 72 and she is 24.
Oh, wow. So you got to look at this both ways. Number one, she will realize that she will always be number two because he's in love with the X, the NFL/football. Okay. And on the other side, how long is she going to deal with that factor that she's always going to be number two? Because if I was his age with a girlfriend like that, I'd be like hanging out in tropical settings like Bali or Maui and turning into a Mormon and get me another one like that. You know,
and it's not even that she's 24. She is a, Belichick was a good looking man when he was 30, 40.
Yeah.
50.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Belichick is a little a curmudgeon looking guy. I mean, he's kind of worn out. He kind of ridden hard and put up wet. You know what I mean? And she was like a cheerleader. I mean, she's a little smoke show. I gotta say. I mean, just saying.
All I'm saying is
it's nuts. Doesn't make any
I
sense.
don't know if she's realized that she's always going to be number two until he drops dead. Because as you can see, obviously he wasn't thinking, man, I can't believe I got me a 24-year-old little doll, but I'm going to go hang out and play and work again and be in a college setting. Yeah, I don't see this lasting more than a year, maybe right after Valentine's Day or maybe Easter. Or maybe she's going to marry one of his kids that's going to take over the job because
she's too young for his kids. She's too young for his own kids. And does she want to deal with all the competition on campus? You know what I mean? I mean, if I'm her, I'm like, oh, geez, the last thing I need is Belichick being on campus with a bunch of co-eds. That ain't right.
My long shot bet is that she becomes prom queen, homecoming queen. She runs off with the homecoming king. She runs off with the homecoming king, and he sits there and goes, oh, well, it was fun while it lasted. I don't see him really losing his mind over it because, like I said, I'd be at a tropical setting getting me another one just like that and have two of them.
I don't. What happens when he brings the players home for dinner to have a recruiting day or something like that, and his 24-year-old girlfriend is there? I mean,
Yeah,
none of it makes sense.
Our cheerleading staff is just like my girlfriend. Looks just like her. Oh, okay, then I'll sign up. You know, I just don't see it. I just don't see him being romantic, like "Merry Christmas, honey."
Yeah.
And meanwhile he's got the playbook. He's got the playbook wrapped up as a present. He's like, "Oh, thank you," and he starts studying the playbook on New Year's Eve. You know, I just don't see it.
All right, Paulie.
I just don't see it. You know, I mean, God bless him. I hope he realizes what he has, but like I said, I just don't see why he decided
I
to
think it's
go
crazy.
and work football when he's got a girlfriend like that. I'd be like, let's go to Maui, or let's go to Fiji, or let's hang out over here in Cannes, or in Monte Carlo.
I don't get it. Regardless of, thanks for the call, Paulie. That's a good job by you. Regardless of the girlfriend, I don't get it. I mean, it's 72 years. I'm planning my retirement. I'm 64, and I'm planning for my retirement now. This dude's 72, and he's taking a college coaching job. He ain't gonna coach. Do we have audio? He did his thing. Maybe when we come back, we'll have some last-second audio from Bill Belichick.
I'll search for it.
Happy to be here. There's a beautiful campus here, but we got to get to work here. And we're on to TCU now. See if we can beat Wake Forest. We'll get a break. We'll come back. Final segment is next. Thom Abraham Show.
You're listening to the Thom Abraham Show with Joe Hunk on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Tom Luganbill here for my friends at Woody Anderson Ford. Bobby White and his team take great pride in their service department, and you can see it the moment you walk into those beautiful new service lanes. And just like a championship team, they all work together to make sure your experience is second to none, whether you drive a Ford or not. Also, check out the gold certified pre-owned inventory at Woody Anderson Ford for great deals every day. Stop by and see them at Jordan and Sparkman or at Woody Anderson of Madison on Hughes Road, or visit WoodyAndersonFord.com.
The Drive.
Both those guys have done a good job in what we've asked them to do, and both of them have developed nicely, and both of them have consistently made plays.
Wes and Steve.
Their decision-making, their judgment, their ability not to force things and take what the defense gives and distribute the ball with good decision-making, down in, down out, is probably the only thing that's going to be any different about them, because it's not physical ability or talent. So it's intangibles, leadership, decision-making, judgment, and all those types of things. And, both guys have done a good job in that regard as well.
Listen to The Drive with Wes Neighbors and Steve Moulton each weekday afternoon starting at 5. We are your home of ESPN Radio, 97.7 The Zone.
By now, you know about Eagle Masonry and Insulation, and maybe you know that Eagle also does landscaping and dirt work. But how about after paint work? Shower doors, shelving, and mirrors, all taken care of by Eagle, the same Eagle that takes care of all your masonry, insulation, and landscaping needs. Eagle brings the same level of expertise to all these disciplines, and they're ready to provide you with a free quote. The website is the same, insulatewitheagle.com, as is the phone number, 256-755-1556. Give them a call and see what Eagle can do for you. Eagle saves you time. Eagle saves you money.
Looking for your next adventure to be out of this world but don't have enough money to buy a spaceship and leave orbit? Well, look no further than Divergence VR theme park off of Governor's Drive Southwest in Huntsville, Alabama. Are zombies more your style? How about driving your favorite cars on the world's fastest track? Or maybe a gorilla game that has you climbing up tall trees to escape other gorillas? Wait, that's actually a thing? Huh. Would you look at that? For whatever adventure you can dream of, call 256-203-4128 to get your VR adventure started now.
You need a lawyer and pick up the phone. I'm attorney Gary Lackey. When you call for a lawyer, where does that phone ring? My phone rings in my office.
I'm attorney Justin Lackey. My phone rings in my office, too.
So does mine. I'm attorney Jennifer Lackey. And when you've been hurt and need help, we're the ones who take your call.
The Lackey Law Firm. The Lackey Law Family. 1-800-4RIGHTS.
No representation is made that the quality of the legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
You've got to experience Toyotathon at Bill Penny Toyota. They've got the selection with over 700 new Toyotas to choose from. And they've got the extras with Bill Penny perks and a 10-year unlimited warranty. So get on over to Bill Penny Toyota today and experience Toyotathon. Bill Penny Toyota in Huntsville and online at BillPennyToyota.com. Bill Penny's Toyota 10-year unlimited warranty is valid through the 10th year of ownership. Valid on new vehicles only. See dealer for details.
The Drive with Wes Neighbors and Steve Moulton. Listen weekday afternoons starting at 5 on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
It's perfect.
Bill, what do you say to people that fear that if you do succeed here, that you might leave for the NFL again in a year or two?
Yeah, well, I didn't come here to leave.
I didn't come here to leave. We're on to Wake Forest now. I didn't come here to leave. Got Louisville coming up. Gotta get ready for Louisville. You know, Duke. That's a rivalry game. That's Duke. You know, they're right down the road there at Duke. Anytime you play in a rivalry game like Duke, you know, it's like playing the Jets. You know, never do it. You gotta beat Duke. I mean, it's my first priority. Make sure we beat Duke, and we gotta beat Wake Forest. We do every word in Duke. Duke and Wake Forest. Those are the two. Duke. Yeah. I wonder if they asked him about his kids. I mean, we don't know because we've been doing a sports talk radio show. That's the first thing I'm going to check. Do you think anybody asked him about his kid, whether his kid's coming with him or not?
So what's crazy is when you search Bill Belichick, there's two quotes that are popping up across all of social media. The "I didn't come here to leave" and him saying "beat Duke" at the very beginning of the press conference. That is literally
He did not say beat Duke.
He did say beat Duke.
He did not say beat Duke.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh. The guy with 6 Lombardi trophies. Yeah, we got to beat Duke. That's the first priority is that we beat Duke.
It's all he knew as a kid is what he said was beat Duke.
Wow. Hilarious. Dan Mullen is the new head football coach at UNLV. Chew on that, too, for a minute. There's crazy stuff going on, man. Dan Mullen to UNLV. What's next? Bill Cowher to NC State, where his daughter was. All right, that's going to do it. Coming up next, it's the Paul Feinbaum Show. I'm Thom Abraham. Have yourself a wonderful day.